What's going on, everybody in the vinyl community? Craig back. Finally. Long overdue. Finally doing an update. Tons of shit in the inbox, if you see here. I'm about a month overdue on the stuff I'm going to show today. Lots of different stuff coming in over the last month, basically. Honeyhole finds, some online stuff, all kinds of great VCLT, but we're going to save a lot of those for later videos. I can actually spread things out. I'm not used to doing that, but everything I'm going to show is from the record show I went to back on February 9th. And a couple of things that I picked up after the show, which I'll show first, because I'm saving the best for last on this one. So first, what's in the background? INXS, the Swing classic from the INXS catalog. I've been in a huge INXS funk for the last, well, pretty much ever since I was a kid, but really in the last couple of weeks because of the Australian miniseries. If anybody here in the US has been able to see it yet, I was able to just, I downloaded it. Because there was no way I was going to be able to see it. Just with being here in America, and you can't watch stuff from other countries unless you change, your internet settings and all this shit. I'm not going to go into it because it's not a fucking computer video, this is a vinyl video. But either way, for anybody who hasn't seen it, it's basically just a bunch of actors, an actor's portrayal type of thing, but INXS were involved in the making of it. And yes, some things are fictionalized in it, but it's all based on, what really happened and all this other shit. So, pretty much your typical kind of made-from TV movie, but really well done, in my opinion, and pretty good. Really worth the watch if you're an INXS fan, and if you just want an excuse to really get into INXS, yeah, this will definitely throw the excuse train going. So, let's get into the finds. Alright, so the first two, these are ones that I picked up from Michiana Used Music. I went to that after the record show to say hey to the owner. Hadn't been in there in a couple months, and he had pulled a stack out from the back room and was like, hey, I'm going through these, see if there's anything you want. I really wasn't planning on going in there to really spend any big money. I didn't spend big, but I spent more money than I really didn't need to because the record show just about drained me. But in the stack, a couple of cool things, but this one really stuck out. This is probably the cleanest copy I'm ever gonna find, and an album I've been really on the hunt for. Why? By 10 years after. Oh yeah. Just beautiful cover. The vinyl is a beautiful near mint on the Durham label. I wasn't too 100%. I'm pretty sure this was a UK press, but don't quote me on that. Actually, I think it was a US press. Either way, I don't care. This album is fucking amazing. Alvin on guitar. Oh, God. What an amazing album. I picked this up on CD late last year, I think, and I fell in love with it. So I've been on the hunt for it ever since on vinyl and got really lucky. And he gave me a great price on it, too. He really didn't know what to price it at, but then after kind of doing some research, and he kind of looked at me and he's like, dude, even after your discount, you're still going to get a good price. So I think I only paid like $8 for it, which is pretty reasonable for me. But here, oh man, we're getting into Grail territory on this one. An album that I'm pretty sure I never thought I'd ever find on vinyl. Had it on CD, cassette, years. Huge fan. And I've seen it on vinyl there at least twice. I don't know whether it was the same copy, because it was months apart when I went in there and seen it. This was a while back. And I was kicking myself for not picking it up the first time because I didn't have the money and there was a lot of other stuff. Second time, I was like, I don't know, do I really need it? And I've been kicking myself ever since for not buying it. And this copy actually is in better shape than the one I had seen before. And for a very nice price. Full Moon Fever by Tom Petty. Oh my God. Still in the shrink. Vinyl is unplayed. And just fucking gorgeous, beautiful insert, hype sticker, everything. And I have been a huge fan of this album for as long as I can remember. I really can't think of a specific time when I first heard the album. Just so many great songs. I mean, we all know the singles: Free Fallin', I Won't Back Down, Running Down a Dream, even You're So Bad. You got the Birds cover, Feel a Whole Lot Better, but you got so many other great songs, like Love is a Long Road, Depending on You, Zombie Zoo's a great killer closing track. Just awesome. And I was so stoked. I'm still actually kind of amazed I was able to find it. So those were the cap-offs to my day. Now let's get into the record show. I went with a specific mindset to really look for a lot more hard rock and metal stuff. Just because I don't find it a lot while I've been out digging. I mean, yeah, I've got 3 cubes worth of, hard rock and what I consider really hard rock and metal, but that's far from having a lot of the stuff I want. So, figured, okay, go to the record show, I'm going to get some reasonable prices, I'm going to find some stuff. Didn't really have specifics on what I wanted to find, just really focusing on that genre. And I was able to pick up a bunch of cool stuff, fill in a couple holes in some other, areas that needed to be worked on. And we got a grail at the end. I mean, when I say grail, I mean a grail. So let's get into the first table. So these were from the guy who operates the record show and also has the booth at my honey hole. He has, it's set up basically in a big conference room. He has a whole table set up that goes along the first wall and then wraps around at least maybe a third of the adjoining wall. Just everything specific into genres. I mean, everything from, 40s and 50s jazz to, big band, early rock and roll, prog, hard rock and metal had a huge, 4 or 5 boxes to themselves. But, some stuff was cool, some stuff was a little overpriced. I like some of his prices, and then I don't like some of his prices. Overall, pretty reasonable, though, and well worth digging through, because you'll find some really cool stuff if you dig hard enough. And right away, oh man, I've been wanting this one for a while, and I'm a huge fan, obviously. So, let's show this sucker. No Sleep Till Hammersmith by Motorhead. Classic live album. You got stuff basically from the first album up through Ace of Spades. But just classics like Ace of Spades, Overkill, Bomber, Motorhead. This is really good and too short in my opinion. This needs to be a double album because this is so fucking good. But couldn't pass it up. It would be $12, but original press on that Mercury Skyline label, beautiful shape. I'm like, you know what? It'd be cool to have the OG versus picking up the reissue, which the reissue wouldn't really cost a whole big difference in price. So, figure why not. And also from this dealer, LJ has had me on the fucking Marillion kick, as I'm sure a lot of other people have been on the Marillion kick because of him, and in turn, thanks Gil. I've had Misplaced Childhood on vinyl for, I want to say, at least 5-6 years. Never really spun it much until I started, seeing LJ's, big enthusiasm in Marillion, so revisiting that album. I bought Fugazi a couple years ago. And so I've been kind of on the hunt for more Marillion, but it just doesn't pop up around here. And online, sometimes you just don't want to pay that extra, whether it be Discogs, eBay. So, hoping more stuff pops up in the wild. And this one popped up for only a few bucks. I'm like, alright, I'll take it. Brief Encounter. So basically you got a 5-track EP here with Kaylee from Misplaced Childhood, Fugazi, and Script for a Jester's Tear. So each of the title tracks from the specific albums, and 2 other songs on here, Lady Nina and Freaks. And this is just awesome. The last 3 tracks are all live tracks, the other 2 aren't. far as I am aware. Yep, studio tracks. So well worth the $5 I paid. Nice for the Marillion collection. Very, very cool. All right, so on to the next table. All right. These ones were 3 for $2, and you can obviously see why they were only, only a couple bucks for them, because they're pretty beat up on the covers. Vinyl's in pretty good shape, and I couldn't leave them. I just never see them. Like, these will at least be good placeholders, even if the vinyl is in really good shape. The covers, I can swap out, whatever. But getting on the hard rock and metal Michael Schenker group. So you got this classic with Armed and Ready. Oh man, sick. And you got MSG, follow up to the last album. This is really good. And I couldn't stay hard rock and metal all day. Living in the Background by Baltimore. Yeah, this one, surprisingly enough, for as big of a hit as Tarzan Boy was, I never see this on vinyl. It's really surprising. And you know what? Why the hell not? This is, just classic, just fun 80s pop, in my opinion. But Tarzan Boy is such a great song. I don't give a shit who you are. One of my best friends and I, we love that song. And every time we're listening to the radio during the weekends when I work, and they have, one of the stations has an all 80s weekend, and you're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to hear Tarzan Boy at some point. And I swear to God, all work stops as soon as that song comes on. We were just all over it. So I had to text a picture of this to him as soon as I picked it up. So I was like, dude, yeah. So he was really excited to see that. So was I. So on to the next table. Getting back into the hard rock and metal again. One that don't really see all that often, but whenever I do see it, it's pretty pricey, and this one is in really, really nice shape and very, very well priced. Seventh Star by Black Sabbath, featuring Tony Iommi. So you got Glenn Hughes on vocals on this one. Gold stamp promo. Very cool. Not a bad album. I mean, you're not going to get your typical Black Sabbath. For anybody who's not familiar with this album, don't think Black Sabbath and think like, oh, classic Black Sabbath. No, this is more your, what was this, 80, 86. I want to get my years correct. Just think 1986, what was going on in hard rock at that point, and you pretty much kind of got this album. It's really good, though. I definitely suggest at least giving it a listen. And especially if you're a Glenn Hughes fan, it's really, really great singing on his end. Alright, jumping off the hard rock again, we're dipping into my favorite decade, the 80s, and an album that is just awesome, and a band that I've really connected with over the last year and a half, and glad I did. Porcupine by Echo and the Bunnymen. Oh yeah, this one was a really cool find, really cheap. 1983, great album. The Cutter, Back of Love, big songs off of here. Overall, a really, really good album. I highly recommend it. Anybody, if you want to check out Echo and the Bunnymen, this is a great, if you're looking for an actual album, if you don't want to stay away from just the hits, definitely recommend this one. And filled in a huge hole in my Fleetwood Mac collection. Very excited to find this. Kilnhouse. Very, very cool. I was really, really excited to find this. I've been hunting for this for a long time. Really in the last couple of years since I started collecting the earlier Fleetwood Mac stuff. Reprise label. And I've seen this one pop up a few times, but it's always just been beat to all fuck, and I don't know why. And overpriced. But very, very cool to find that one. On to the next table. Now I think we're staying strictly, yeah, the rest of them were all in the hard rock and metal, so we're not genre jumping. So these next two, I was really surprised to find anything hard hard rock metal from this one dealer. He was new to the record show and was really known for having lots of 60s. So your garage rock, psych, pop, all that type of stuff. A lot of Sundazed reissues, lots and lots of great stuff. If I were in the mood for buying a lot more 60s stuff, I would have bought a shitload from this guy because he had really nice prices, really great stuff. But he had a small box off the side that was 70s and 80s rock. And found some pretty cool stuff in there. First one, an album that, yeah, it's pretty cheesy. It's not the end-all be-all best album of all time, but it's such a great album. It holds a lot of meaning for me because it was the first time I had heard by these guys, and it was one of those bigger albums for me when I got into that late 80s. I hate using the term hair metal, but we'll say hair metal for the sake of this. And one that I've been hunting for on vinyl for a long time. I still have my original cassette too that I bought back in the mid-90s, I think, when I was little. So really stoked to find this. Dirty, Rotten, Filthy, Stinkin' Rich by Warrant. Oh yeah. And a gold stamp promo over in the corner. Some beautiful, beautiful shape. Now for the, hits off of here, Down Boys, Sometimes She Cries, Heaven. We all know that song. This is a really, really solid album. And I think Warrant, as much as you want to give that particular genre and time in music just a bunch of shit, they were a really good rocking band. And the further they progressed, the better they got at showing a lot more of their, more harder edge on the rock side. Especially Dog Eat Dog. But unless you're fucking Chris, Fitzy72, damn, your luck of finding that on vinyl, forget about it. I love you, brother. Alright, and then this one he threw in for free. Yeah, and yes, I did pick it up. It's not like, oh, here, take this off my hands. Which I'm sure anybody else would be like, can you please just take this? Nobody wants to buy it. I'll buy it. Fuck yeah, I will. In God We Trust by Stryper. Well, why? He's saying, why Stryper? What's your deal with Stryper? They're actually really good players. I mean, save for the, religious overtones of the lyrics, the music is fucking incredible on this. And I couldn't pass it up in this nice a shape. And it was only $3 anyways, so when he threw it in, it wasn't a big deal. The included dollar bill insert. Very cool. So onto the final table. Here's where shit gets pretty fucking good. So these guys always have a really, really cool selection of pretty much everything in the rock genre, so to speak. And I actually picked up a couple pieces of VCLT at the table too. So. And for really nice prices as well. And I just knocked it out of the park on this one and blew what I had left for the record show at this table too. So, Dollar Fine, Kingdom Come. Oh yeah. I had this one on cassette for a long time, but I can honestly say I've never really listened to it. On Polidor, produced by Bob Rock, so you can immediately tell what production quality it has, and just pretty much your typical late 80s hard rock. Really kind of got a sort of Zeppelin-y feel to it, but a lot more just that 80s hard rock, good shit. And for $1, yeah, I'm not gonna bitch. I'm gonna pick it up in that nice a shape. You're just not gonna find that anywhere around here, at least. Once again, I talk way too much, but that's why I'm the Rambler. So we get to flip shit over. Don't worry, my talking is worth it. You know it is. Alright, on to some of the other great finds. Next one, a hole in my Scorpions collection that I've been wanting to fill for a long time. Savage Amusement. So, later 80s, Scorpions, basically just, sounding like a lot of the other hair bands that were out at the time, and even looking like them too. Just ridiculous, but it's the fucking Scorpions. And this is a really, really good album. I really enjoyed listening to this. So, very, very cool. Personally, if we're going to talk late 80s hair metal style Scorpions, Crazy World is the way to go. That album is fucking amazing. Alright, continuing on in the later 80s, but classic bands. Priest, live. So, some killer live Judas Priest from the Turbo Tour. And this is just well recorded, great song selection. I mean, you got stuff from, Turbo, and you got classics like Heading Out to the Highway, Metal Gods, Breaking the Law, Electric Eye. You got Another Thing Coming. Basically, just all the major stuff. If you're a fan of the album Turbo and you're a fan of just, the basic, 80s hits, this is definitely the way to go in terms of live albums. So, very cool. Glad to find that. And I don't know what, I didn't go intentionally buying live albums, but I have a feeling there was just somebody looking over me going, hey, you need these live albums. Boom, here they are. So between the Motorhead, the Priest, and this next one, forget about it. I was really excited to find this. The Eagle Has Landed by Saxon. Nice UK press. And just, oh man, I've been wanting this one. Another one I've been hunting really. I found a lot of stuff I've been really digging for the, umpteen amount of years. This is a gaping hole in my Saxon collection. I've tried pulling the trigger, but just never gotten close enough to really picking it up on, online or whatever. And Saxon's just so hard to come by out in the wild. Every time I've seen a Saxon album, I've picked it up, which basically means I've seen Saxon here in my digging territory 5 times. So I only have 5 Saxon albums, but this makes number 6. Yeah. Very cool. And just well recorded live material. You got so many classics: Strong Arm of the Law, Princess of the Night, Heavy Metal Thunder, Wheels of Steel. This whole album is fucking amazing. So, if you're a Saxon fan and you haven't heard that, you don't know what you're fucking missing, because that is fucking incredible. Now, on to the last one and the grail of the whole day. So, hard rock and metal in the mindset. Very, very broad. So, I mean, we're talking anything from 70s hard rock to 80s stuff, hair metal, thrash, progressive metal. I went all over the board. I really wanted to keep my palette as open as possible. But I was determined to come home with at least one album by these guys, and I knew it wasn't going to be cheap, unless it was pure luck. And I got very lucky and had to really fight with myself to just get it. There was no way I wasn't going to walk home with it at this point. I had to just say, you know what, there's no turning back. This is the best copy you're ever going to find. And basically just tell yourself, you know what, it's only money. You're going to make it back. It's not like you don't have a fucking job. And I had been watching one on eBay that same week, and I had a bid on it, but I had just gotten outbidded, I think the day of the show or something like that, so I was kind of waiting to see, and this was going to be in the same price range. But this one that I was bidding on was a Canadian pressing and really nice shape, but somebody's near mint could be your VG plus. You never know. And with seeing a near mint one in person and being at literally the top of the cap of where I stop, I had to go ahead and pick it up. So yeah, I was really excited to get this. Injustice for All by Metallica. Oh yeah. Original press on Electra. Beautiful shape. I'm going to take it out of the sleeve actually. I mean, this cover, save for a crease and a little bit of indentation from ring wear, from being pressed and everything, so you can't even really tell there's that much ring wear. It's just an indentation. Beautiful on the cover. And then inserts. Let me pull out one of these just to show you how good we're talking on the vinyl. So the custom labels there, and just shiny as all fuck. I mean, just looks beautiful. No spindle marks, no hairline scratches, no scuffs, nothing wrong with these. It almost made me wonder, alright, somebody was either a really meticulous collector who owned these, or literally pulled it out, played it once, and then just stuck it right back on the shelf. Either way, thank you. Because this is the nicest copy I've ever seen, and price-wise on it was $45. I hate to tell everybody my prices, but well worth every penny in all reality. And when I talked to the dealer who was running the table, he kept saying, like, just, not convincing me, like, you need to buy it. Like, dude, how many times have you seen copies of that? And so I ran down how many times I had seen it, and condition-wise and price. And I saw stuff that would be in the $30, $35 range before, and it's been half that condition. I mean, cover torn up, vinyl, definitely loved, and just no way I could ever pull the trigger on it. And I have not wanted to pull the trigger on the latest pressings because I've heard nothing but negative things about them. So I'm going OG. And I almost picked up, before I got this, I went to back to the first table to dig through again and found an original import pressing of Kill 'Em All, and same for the Whiplash EP. Each were $40, so I would have been able to only buy one of them. Whiplash, I came pretty close, but I couldn't justify $40 on an EP. And then Kill 'Em All, as much as I love that album and would love to have that copy, the insert was just a plain plastic inner sleeve, or poly inner sleeve, sorry, and no leered sheet, no nothing, and then the cover had a little bit of creasing and some damage to the spine. So as much as I wanted it, I know I can be able to find it in the $40 price range again, if not hopefully cheaper. So that pretty much pushed me over the edge to get Injustice, and well worth it in my opinion. I'm sold, I was stoked, and I still can't believe I have it, to be honest. But another hole filled in the Metallica collection, so now we're just down to Kill 'Em All, any of the EPs from the 80s, and then Black Album on. So we'll see where my luck comes at some point. I'm not going to pay the ridiculous online prices. If you wait long enough, good things will pop up for you, whether it be the record shows, your local record store, thrift shop, or maybe even a garage sale. Who knows? So that concludes all my record show finds. I will be back. I'm going to do an entry into Maggie's contest before she ends that next week. And I got some other updates that I'll be doing hopefully in the next few weeks. Trying to wait for more things to come in. So I got some online stuff, some other purchases, and we'll see what else kind of shows up. So on that note, I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, take care. Peace.